Hi guys, it's me, Miss Sam again, and for today's lesson, it's going to be the second part of the lesson or of the reading. So, if you didn't watch or listen the first video or the first part, go check that out right now before watching this, just so that you're all caught up. And let's get this started.
Page 12. Into Africa. Dahl had to decide what he wanted to do after Repton. His mother thought he should go to university, but Dahl did not want to do that. He wanted to leave England and travel. So he spent a summer on a school trip to Newfoundland, Canada. There he learned how to live in the wilderness. Dahl returned to England after the summer. In 1934, he took a job with Shell Oil Company. He hoped Shell would send him to Africa or Asia, but at first he just worked in London. Dahl spent his first 4 years with Shell living at home. In the evenings he went out with friends. But in 1938, Dahl's travel wishes came true. Shell sent him to Dar es Salaam in East Africa. Dahl supplied fuel and lubricants to diamond mines and plantations there. He saw many wild animals along the way. Yet most of the time he sat behind a desk or played sports. Dahl often listened to the news on the radio. World War II loomed. By the time the war began in 1939, Dahl had started to get bored with his job. At 22 years of age, he decided to join the war effort. He traveled to Kenya late that year and enlisted in England's Royal Air Force. Page 14. A piece of cake. Dahl enjoyed his time training for the RAF. However, his plane crashed in the desert before he even joined the fighting. Dahl narrowly escaped his burning plane. He suffered many injuries. It took months and many surgeries before Dahl recovered. Dahl flew again after his crash. He fought in Greece and Syria. He became a skilled fighter pilot. Dahl shot down many enemy warplanes, yet his old injuries still bothered him, so he eventually stopped flying. The RAF sent Dahl to work in Washington, D.C. There, he met a writer named C.S. Forrester. Forrester interviewed Dahl about his experiences as a pilot, but Dahl ended up writing the story instead. He called the story A Piece of Cake. Forrester sent the story to the Saturday Evening Post. The magazine bought it and paid Dahl $1,000. Soon, Dahl was writing for other magazines as well. He wrote mostly about his wartime experiences. He later said becoming a writer was a fluke. He said he never would have thought of it if someone had not asked him to write. Dahl wrote his first children's story in 1943. He called it The Gremlins. It was about tiny creatures who lived on fighter aircraft and made them crash. Then, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt read the book to her children. She liked it so much she invited Dahl to the White House. That was how Dahl became friends with Franklin D. Roosevelt. Page 16. Bedtime Stories to Books. Dahl returned to England in 1945. He spent the next few years writing short stories for grown-ups. He became known for his strange tales with surprise endings. In 1952, Dahl moved to New York City and lived at a friend's home. Shortly after moving, he attended a dinner party. There he met a young actress named Patricia Neal. Roald and Patricia married in 1953. They had 5 children. Their names were Olivia, Tessa, Theo, Ophelia, and Lucy. Dahl made up bedtime stories for the children. Slowly, those stories would find their way onto paper. The family was badly shaken in December 1960. A taxi hit baby Theo in his stroller. The boy suffered multiple hand injuries. Dahl asked an inventor friend to help make a device for Theo. Eventually, Theo recovered and did not need the device anymore. Yet the Dahl way till Vav helped many other people with similar problems afterward. Dahl's career as a children's author took off in 1961. That year, James and the Giant Peach was published in the United States. The book is about a boy who travels thousands of miles in a peach the size of a house. The boy makes many strange friends along the way. Unfortunately, tragedy struck the Dahl family again in 1962. 7-year-old Olivia died of complications from the measles. Dahl had a hard time writing for a while after her death. Page 18. Ups and Downs. To the relief of his fans, Dahl did begin writing again. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was published in 1964. The now famous tale is about a boy who wins a chance to tour a candy factory. Yet he finds that the factory is not as sweet as it may seem. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was even more popular than James and the Giant Peach. However, not everyone was a fan of Dahl's work. Some critics said his children's stories were too violent. People also complained that Dahl portrayed adults as mostly bad people. Dahl defended his work. He said children like scary tales and frightening situations. He also said they like to see bad things happen to bad people. Dahl believed that was why his books were popular. He also realized that kids get bored easily. He worked to make sure his books were never boring. The following years brought both success and more tragedy. Dahl's wife Patricia suffered 3 strokes during her pregnancy with her 5th child. Dahl was determined to help her recover. He pushed her very hard to get back to normal. Eventually, she did get better. Page 20. Writing to the End. In addition to books and stories, Dahl also wrote several screenplays over the years. 2 of his screenplays were based on books by British author Ian Fleming. They were Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and the James Bond movie You Only Live Twice. Those efforts made Dahl among the best paid writers in Hollywood. Dahl's work again made it to Hollywood in 1971. Gene Wilder stars in the first movie version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. In 1973, Dahl published a sequel to the book called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Roald and Patricia divorced in 1983. That same year, he married Felicity Crossland, and the two made their home in England. Soon after, Dahl published 3 of his most successful books. The BFG, Matilda, and The Witches made him more popular than ever. In 1990, doctors diagnosed Dahl with a rare blood disease. He spent the last months of his life in almost constant pain. He died on November 23, 1990, at the age of 74. After his death, Dahl's books remained popular. In 1996, James and the Giant Peach was made into a movie. The Witches was produced on stage in England in summer 2005. Also that summer, Warner Brothers released a new movie based on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Today, Roald Dahl's fanciful work continues to gain new fans.